absolutely fascinating, incredible vegetable, puntarelli. I have been waiting over 10 years to cook with this plant. This is the type of chicory traditionally eaten in Lazio, in Italy. There's a number of different types of puntarelli chicory. And when you get them, depending on the age, what you're going to do is you're going to pick off the outer leaves, and those you can cook like a dandelion green or like chicory greens. They're going to have a great bitter flavor, really wonderful with garlic and chili. But the part that you want is kind of the heart, and it's a big mass of these little buds that would grow into leaves. And it's almost like a celery root crossed with a dandelion. Just absolutely incredible what humans can do from a wild chicory that they selectively harvest. Traditionally, you're going to use a puntarelli cutter to cut the puntarelli into the traditional shape. I don't recommend a puntarelli cutter. Mine broke almost immediately. I'm going to go over a couple different ways you can cut them, though, to mimic the traditional shape, which is just a thin julienne. You can see I picked the buds off there, the individual buds, and here with a knife, I'm cutting them into a julienne. This is pretty putsy, so what I really recommend is a mandolin. Mandolins are so good for so many things. I'll cut the bottom off there, and then I'm going to trim off any outer leaves or remnants of them. Then I'll cut the heart of the buds in half and shave it on the mandolin. So this is much easier and much faster than cutting individual buds by hand, and it's faster than using a puntarelli cutter too. So just take your slices of puntarelli, save the extras for soup, and cut them into a thin julienne. And after these are cut, you're going to soak them in ice water. That's going to make it really nice and crisp. With some varieties of puntarelli, it also makes them curl, which is also traditional. So after they're soaked for about 30 minutes, I'm going to drain them. And this is also really important because there's water that's going to be clinging to the cut chicory, and you really want to get that water off. So what you need to do is drain them and then put them with something absorbent. So I'm going to layer them in a colander here. You can also just roll them up in a towel, and that will work totally fine too. You can also use a small salad spinner, and that is probably the best. Unfortunately, my salad spinner only holds like 6 gallons, and it's kind of big, so they would have fallen through the cracks. So I'm going to let that drain. Then I'm going to make the traditional dressing here, which is an anchovy vinaigrette. For the most traditional look and taste, you're going to want to use whole anchovy fillets. I'm going to pat them dry. Then we're just going to cut them into little strips. It's a very rustic dressing. You could also use a pureed anchovy vinaigrette, and there's going to be a link to that in the description of this video. And I'll add a little bit of vinegar. You want to use red wine vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, a clove of garlic, and I really like with my dressings to grate the garlic so I don't have big chunks of garlic. Then I'm just going to mash everything up with a fork, and you're just going to make a really rustic vinaigrette. Just mash all those anchovies up. I actually keep a cheap fork around that can bend. That's a restaurant trick that I use. I keep a cheap fork around just to make little dressings like this. It's kind of my rustic salad fork. And just really mash all those anchovy fillets up until you get kind of like a brown paste. Delicious. Then whisk in some oil, and then I'm going to take the dressing and just mix it in with the sliced julienne chicory. Just mix it in until it tastes good to you. Season it with salt. Even though there's anchovies and they're salty, they need some salt. And that is it. That's the traditional salad. I hope you've learned a little bit about puntarelli and enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.